back, guys. So previously we discussed British imperialism in India. Today we're going to look at European motives or reasons to imperialize in Africa. So we looked at one country in Europe imperializing one country in Asia. This time we're going to look at why all the countries in Europe imperialized all the countries in Africa. And the reasons are pretty much all relatively the same. Remember, imperializing is when a larger country goes into a smaller country and looks to take over politically, economically, and socially, and just kind of implement their policies onto these countries, these other countries. And so the first one we are going to start with is European nationalism. European nationalism. And this is where your European countries, whether that's Great Britain, Spain, or France, they all believe that they're super proud. They have extreme pride. And what they believe that what is best for them is better than what's maybe best for the entire world. And so that extreme nationalism kind of leads them to believe that they're better, than everyone else. So this extreme nationalism, or the belief that their country is better than others. And they didn't believe that just in Africa. They believed that they were all better than each other. But that nationalism kind of leads to a competition to prove that you are better than those other countries. And so it's kind of like, ooh, let's go down there. Let's go and let's start setting up. Another reason, Christianity. Christianity is another reason. The missionaries wanted to go and convert So they would go and they would try to convert the people in Africa to Christianity. And they believed that it was their duty to quote unquote save these people. So nationalism is one. Missionaries are another. Or mission work, as the church would call it, mission work. The other one is for warfare purposes. The ability to set up army bases. And this is still a big version of imperialism still today. Think about all the places that the United States has an army base. We have army bases in South Korea, Cuba, Guam, just different places all throughout the world that we have bases. And this is really just a form of imperialism or a reason to go over there. And you can set up an army base and kind of flex your muscles and show how strong you are in that region. So army bases is one. You had opportunities social and economic opportunities. This was a way that you could go and increase your social status. You could, the fact that you were just there as a person from Europe, in their mind, led them to believe that they were better. They were on a higher social ladder than others. And then it was an opportunity for them to make money. They could go in there and they could go and set up shops, things of that nature. Another one, Racism. Racism. And this one's kind of twofold. This was the belief that the stronger would survive, while the weaker would be eliminated. And this was an idea called social Darwinism. And social Darwinism, because of the idea of social Darwinism that the strong people would survive over time and the weak people would die, the bigger and the badder would survive, led the Europeans to believe that they were the bigger and the stronger. And then those that were dying off, or those that were not surviving, were weaker, and therefore they deserved it. They deserved it because they were stronger or bigger or badder. And that's a racist ideology. They believed that they were just better. The other one is what becomes known as the white man's burden. It's actually a poem. And the white man's burden was written by Europeans, and it was that they had to go to Africa to save these people for all of these reasons that we've discussed, whether it was for Christianity or for the nationalistic purposes, that the white man's burden was to go to Africa and save the continent. Well, 2020, Africa is worse because Europe showed up. Because everywhere white people tend to go, they tend to make worse. You can look at Columbus. America's thriving. The New World is thriving. Bunch of resources. We got the Aztecs, the Incas, the Mayas, major civilizations over here that just disappear pretty much overnight once we get here. And then now the resources are depleted. Same thing happens in Africa. They're a rich, wealthy country. Or continent, a rich, wealthy continent. You're looking at major civilizations that have resided in Africa, whether it's Egypt, and you can tell from the pyramids and the Sphinx and all of the ruins that are there that Egypt was grand and massive. Nubia, with all the gold that they had. The Ottoman Empire had a huge influence in that region. And so Africa was very, very, very wealthy and affluent. You're going to see as we continue to discuss the imperialism in Africa, how all of that tends to go away. And the Europeans use the white man's burden as explanation or reasoning behind why they do this. But another big one is the Industrial Revolution. And the building of factories. And we're going to talk about the Industrial Revolution in its own unit. But the Industrial Revolution created a need for resources, whether it was trees or just natural resources. Africa had the natural resources that Europe did not, and they were able to turn those natural resources into finished goods, like pencils, for example. Just because I don't have a better example. But finished goods. And then they were able to take those finished goods and sell them back to the African people, which brings up that economic opportunity or economic chances. But the Industrial Revolution created a need for more natural resources because these factories are being built and we're trying to grow things like trees or cotton. Cotton is a big one. That's a natural resource. More so from the Americas, but you still get the idea. were able to take cotton and create shirts. But the Industrial Revolution creates a need for natural resources, which Africa has a lot of. But these are the two big ones right here: racism and the Industrial Revolution, and the need for the African natural resources. And Europeans tend to hide these two behind the rest. Well, it's an economic opportunity for Africa. We're going to make Africa richer. Well, in hindsight, taking all of their natural resources made them poorer. We're going to set up army bases there, and we're going to keep you safe. Well, really, all it did was keep these European nations safe. We're doing God's work. We're going and we're converting people and saving their lives. And really, that was everywhere Europe goes, they use this same reasoning. They used it when they came to the New World. Well, a bunch of people died once Europeans got there. Same thing happens in Africa. Christianity is constantly the European explorers and imperializers' reasoning is what they hide behind. Now, I'm not saying that it didn't happen, but I'm saying that it's a very small percentage. These are your big ones. It was much more money and social status. They believed they were better than these people. They needed their stuff and were going to take it. And they just hid behind religion while they did it. And that was because of this nationalistic idea. They believed that they were the better country. We are better. But this nationalism leads to a sense of, it creates a cycle. It becomes competition. All of these countries are competing to get into Africa first and take their stuff. Who can colonize the most land? Well, it's the exact same thing that happened in the age of exploration. Once the New World was found, all of these countries start sailing over here and start claiming lands. This is ours, this is ours, this is ours. That's why Brazil speaks Portuguese, but the rest of South America speaks Spanish. That's why Florida at the time was a Spanish country. That's why you have a large Spanish population in Florida. But along the rest of the East Coast, you have English, British influences. And then you get into Canada where there's French influences. So all of these countries are rushing, just like they rushed over to the New World to colonize. Once imperialism becomes a big thing, they start competing to imperialize the most land in Africa, mainly for the opportunity to take their natural resources, and because social Darwinism says it belongs to them. We are going to stop here. We're going to continue looking into the scramble for Africa and what it was, how it ended up playing out. We're going to look at some maps, do some readings, things of that nature. But right now, you have an assignment on Canvas. Reach out to me if you have questions about it, if you need help doing it. And as always, have a great day.